A lot of my work focuses on the personally political, which is a term which I made up about last week, but apparently it's also a 1960s feminist slogan, so that works. My first poem is called Sisters in Arms. You are the strongest person the world has ever known. You wear your womanhood like a crown, picked still bloody from the battleground. Hold your head high and claim your throne, you incredible woman. You stand your ground against hounds and hecklers who seek to split the earth at your feet. You retaliate with gales, a storm of redemption raining over their heads. You tempest, you force of nature, powerful. You hold stars in each fist, held close to your hope, held close to your heart, commanding, throw the first brick and demand your rights. You visionary, trailblazer, you remembered, you have always belonged here. You will have to excuse my voice, because not only have I been shouting on the streets for half an hour, I am also coming down with some kind of cold. This next poem is about the education system and how we're taught a pretty single story. It's not a very well-rounded education, all in all. Content warning for very brief mentions of racism, police brutality, transphobia, and LGBTQ+ erasure. History books. I might not be the kind of person you'd expect to say this to you, but I cannot act as though I do not love the lands I'm walking through, because this is where I have come from. But if you try and tell me to respect my history, I will tell you to respect all of it. You cannot pick and choose your roots. You come from anger, from hate, from a heart that would pulsate on the battleground at the march. And when you arch your back and tell me to stand up straight, I wonder who you are talking for. I will stand up straight only when all of my sisters, brothers, siblings can, when their experiences are not banned books thrown out of the classroom. Respect your history, you tell me, but I can't see why the straight white man's point of view is so important to you. Respect your history. So tell me how the father of modern computing was gay, trans women of colour started the Stonewall riots, young black girls invented machines to turn pee back into water, but these stories do not make up even a quarter of our history lessons. Tell me how Anne Frank was bisexual, but they cut those bits out of the book. How can I know my history to respect it when they keep cutting bits out of the books? Tell me how Native American children were slaughtered by settlers, how the first black children to enter public education were heckled. Tell me how Welsh children were given the cane for speaking their own tongue, black women entering police cells alive and coming out dead, murder, trans boys are cracking their ribs because they're denied safe healthcare, feminism becomes a dirty word because respect can mean two things. I will treat you like a person, or I will treat you like authority. And we are told, I will respect you when you respect me. I will treat you like a person when you treat me like authority. You tell me to respect my history. I tell you, most of it is not worth respecting. So, I have joint hypermobility syndrome. If you saw me around the march, you might have noticed I was using a walking cane. It's a condition that makes me prone to random dislocations and generalised pain and fatigue, which is really fun. And I'd never really written about it before, definitely not written poems about it before, but this kind of happened in the last few days. So, content warning for internalised ableism and a reclaimed slur. Right. This is the year that my disability really becomes a part of my identity, no longer just a question mark in the margin or a scribbled out note. I've moved on from lazy, from growing pains, left behind teenage hypochondriac. It's not just hormones or hyperbole, not contradictory diagnoses given by exasperated doctors. These days, it's what your mother's got, now genetic and a 50% chance of passing down. You think they'd check for that. It's prioritising my cane over my books in my school bag, a tick in the mobility issues box of every medical form. It's fearing exams, not for questions like, what does defragmentation do in a computer system, but instead, what if my shoulder shifts out of its socket? I've picked up cripple punk and ranting about ableism. I realise that this is a voice that few will stand up for. Even amongst advocates and activists, a ring of radical left, I am still the only one fighting this corner because nobody else is sure how or why. They try. One picks me up like porcelain, promises to glue back together my broken parts, and literally carries me across campus. He wants to fix and safeguard, sees me as fragile, a thing to be cared for. Two treats me like anyone else, only flares up when my symptoms do. They keep an eye on my limits, don't let me push myself into obvious breakdown. I don't know if it's for my comfort or theirs. Three calls me inspirational. I bite my tongue at the words knife punctured scattered through this community. I only do what anyone else would, given this situation. I only manage as best I can. He offers to wash my hair for me when my arms grow tired. I make jokes about my joints. They get out more than I do, and push myself too hard and get blackouts at the top of stairs and tell people I'm okay, I've got this, I just left my blood pressure on the bottom step. I don't say I'm scared, that I don't know what to do. I don't tell them that I'm grieving all the futures I could never live. I never wanted to be an Olympian, but it would have been nice to have the choice. I never wanted to go adventuring, exploring new lands. I never wanted to be an artist. I never wanted to walk without tripping. I never wanted to be disabled. Ableism is proving to be the hardest internalization to beat. This is the year that disability really becomes a part of my identity. I laugh when I trip up and contemplate a pair of bright yellow crutches. Try not to take the mic out with my water. This last poem could be interesting where my voice is going. It's really about, as people, we come from a lot of different situations and circumstances, and that is what makes us who we are, but we don't have to always live up to where we've come from, and sometimes we can just kind of, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but yeah, we come from so many different things, and that's what makes us real and raw and incredible. Content warning for swearing, a drug mention, and a reclaimed slur. Origin story. I come from small town conservatism, from knowing the name of every child in your school. I come from expensive house, growing mold inside, peeling wallpaper. I come from oak trees as big as the universe. I come from blood-stained shirt collars. I come from gender-segregated blazer colours, too big even by year 11. I come from angry spitting, from words unsaid. I come from the confusion of smelling weed, ostensibly for the first time, and feeling like home. I come from hippie festivals and circus tricks, from chocolate chai and poi. I come from grass and fire. I come from finding answers on the internet. I come from not gay as in happy, but queer as in fuck you. I come from fighting for my gender, non-binary. I come from me, they, Z and A. I come from lack of recognition of my identity. I come from words on a page. I come from words shouted on a stage. I come from lies, from deception, from not really knowing the truth, but acting like we do anyway. I come from an alphabet soup, from the T and the P and the Q. I come from arguments in the changing room. I come from mediation. I come from bad days, bad months, bad years. I come from good days. I come from climbing trees, from scraped knees and split lips. I come from freedom in chains, a country too polite for its own good. I come from British anarchy, when people stood up to fight for my rights. I come from smashed windows and hunger strikes. The word beauty hung upon too many people's lips. I come from redefining words in my own image. I come from please and thank you, always. My voice raising to such quiet femininity because I was taught to take up less space than I do. I come from dancing on my own whilst everyone else sits and watches. I come from all the best bits and the worst bits, the bits to which I will not admit, and the best friends I have ever met. I come from all of this and so much more. I come from clicking bones and tuneless humming, and I am still coming. Wow!
Thank you, Dae. Right now, Fletcher, another local poet.